we are here today to honor one of the great trumpet players from Buffalo, New York, the legendary Sam Noto. And we have up here Don Angelo and Sam Noto.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, and thank you all for coming here today. We want to thank the History Museum and Mark Felsinger for all the work they've done in putting this special event together. And thanks to all of you for being here during Jazz Appreciation Month and for proving that jazz is alive and well here in Buffalo, New York. Best of all, it gives us a chance to say hello and wish our beloved trumpet master Sam Noto a happy birthday today. Fasten your seatbelts. You're in for an amazing treat this afternoon. You know, when I was 13 years old, another Buffalo legend, Joe Rico, introduced me to Sam Noto on his radio jazz show. And while teenagers of my generation were listening to Elvis Presley, I was listening to Sam Noto and Frank Sinatra. I used to ride my bike down to Joe Rico's record store on Niagara Street to buy Stan Kenton albums featuring Sam Noto. Sam Noto is one of the greatest jazz trumpeters of all time. He's on the short list, along with people like Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, Fats Navarro, Clifford Brown, and Chet Baker. Now, best of all, Sam belongs to all of us. A West Side boy who has become a Buffalo icon. Today, I don't trust my short-term memory very well, so I must work from notes. But, however, my long-term memory is like a steel trap. I recall every line Sam played with the Rob McConnell Big Band when Sam stood up and delivered what I consider to be the greatest trumpet solo I've ever heard in my life. It was a version of Reuben High. So please, check it out sometime on YouTube if you haven't done so yet. Just type in Sam Noto, Rob McConnell, Reuben High, and I tell you, you'll love it. Sam, great being here with you today, man. Let's start by reminiscing a little bit.
Wait a minute now. Did you practice today? Yeah. So this man used to be my student when I taught at John Cavola's music store on Grand Street.
Yeah.
And Don Angelo was one of my students. There was another one in the room here.
Richie Merlo.
Richie Merlo, and also Joe Basie is in the room here. He was one of my students. Actually, he was one of the better ones. But anyway, I just have to throw that in there. So I practice your horn now.
Well, thanks to Sam and Richie Merlo, I spent 45 years in the broadcast business, retired, and I said the one thing that I want to do in my later life is to start playing again. And encouragement from Sam, and I don't know how many trumpets we bought on eBay, but we've just been having a ball, and it's fun to be able to do it again. The one thing I want to begin with is I know when you were a teenager, you were a great fan of Harry James.
Right.
But there was a day in your life when you went to a record store in Buffalo to listen to the latest from Harry James. But something happened in that record store that changed your life.
That's right. I went in there, I was 15 years old, at the Whiteman's Song Shop on Main Street in Chippewa. And I was going in to find a new Harry James record. And I was looking through the records, and at that time they used to have booths. You pick a record and go in the booth and listen to it. If you liked it, you bought it. So I was there, and I heard somebody knocking on the window of the booth. And I looked, it was Sammy Cal, and Frank Busco were in this booth. So he opened the door and said, "Sam, what are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I'm looking for the new Harry James record." He said, "Harry James?" He says, "Come on in here." So I went in the booth, and they were playing Music Craft record with Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie, Show Enough, which goes, I go, "What the hell is that?" So I sat there, and it was about 4 hours in that booth listening to Dizzy and Bird. And by the time I got out of there, I forgot who Harry James was. Not really, I love Harry James still, but I mean, that changed my life. I became an avid bebop fan and a person who was trying to play it, which is probably one of the hardest musics to play. I don't know why I chose that. I could have taken the easier road. To end the story, I'd like to put a little antidote on this. We were up at Louis Ranacho's place on the 3rd floor, and we were hanging out. Joe Romano, Chuck Mangione, his brother's right here, Gap Mangione. Give a hand to Jack Mangione. And we were listening to music, drinking beer and whatever. And we came up with, how come you play bebop and who inspired you? So I told the story that I just told you about Harry James and Dizzy and Bird. So I looked at Chuck and I said, "You know, Chuck, I could have been the next Harry James." Chuck broke up. You know that laugh that Chuck had? Anyway, we laughed for about a half hour straight.
Well, you know, during those early years, you were listening a lot, playing all around town with some of the older musicians, and developing your playing, finding your voice. Then another milestone in your life came one day when you were at home and the phone rang. You picked up the phone, you hung up on the guy. It was Stan Kenton. What happened?
Yeah. I was practicing at that time, ironically. The phone rang. I said, "Hello?" He said, "This is Sam Noto?" "Yes." "Trumpet player?" "Yes." "Oh, this is Stan Kenton." I said, "Yeah." So then I had the record, this is an orchestra where Stan was narrating the whole record, and I said, "You know, that did sound something like that." So anyway, the phone rang again, and I picked up, "Hello." He said, "Now don't hang up." So I said, "Yeah." He said, "This is Stan Kenton. We need a couple of trumpet players to play at the Hippodrome Theater tonight. And I got your name from the union, and wondered if you were available." I said, "Yeah, I'm available." So I went at 6 o'clock. We rehearsed in the basement, the trumpet section. George Holt, the black trumpet player, who's now passed on, and I were the two local guys who played the concert that night. And Connie Condoli, whose place I took, wasn't coming back, so I stayed on the band for 7 years. And that's the name of that story.
Yeah, but when you were on stage that night, you shocked a young woman in the audience that was surprised to see you on the stage.
Yeah. The woman I'm married to now is in the audience. She says, "Uh-oh, he's up there, I won't see him anymore." But she did see me, and we've been married 64 years. My two sons here, Chris and Andrew Noto, and my daughter, Jennifer, the wife of Mr. I'm glad you guys showed up. Made me feel a little more at home. Thank you.
All right, now, is the story true that your father got Stan Kenton drunk?
This was a couple of years later after I joined the band. They had a night off, and my mother decided she was going to have some of the people in the band over for dinner. So I took about 8 of us, including Stan Kenton, went to my mother's house on Breckenridge upstairs, and we had a big table set up with all the Italian food and all whatever, and my father's homemade wine, which was dynamite. So anyway, and when you drink with my father, if your glass is empty, you don't have to ask anymore. He just pours it. When the glass is empty, he fills it. That's the way he was. So anyway, Stan Kenton liked the wine. He drank it. My father kept filling it. He kept drinking it. My father filled it. He drank it. So finally, he passed out underneath the table. He was laying under the table, lined out, and we all had to carry him downstairs. We got him a cab and sent him to the hotel.
What did he say the next day?
Yeah, he learned about Italian wine. You gotta take it easy with that stuff.
On a more serious note, and this is something I've always wondered about myself. You know, in his 70s, another world-class trumpeter, who you know, Jack Sheldon, he said once, "I'm still trying to get good," if you can imagine that. Of course, what he's talking about is the love-hate relationship with the trumpet. And I know the horn is a monster to learn, not to mention the physical requirements from body strength, your lip, your lungs, breathing, how your brain is wired, the insanity about mouthpieces, and you have to do everything with just 3 valves. You did it for 75 years. It's a battle, right?
It's a battle, and I'm losing it. It is a physical instrument, and I never had a problem playing it when I was young. I used to play whatever they put in front of me. I played and tried to play it as best I could, of course. But as you get on in years, your strength seems to wane, and you don't keep up with it. But there's a few exceptions. Look at Doc Severinsen. He's 89, I think, and he's still blowing his tail off. I mean, big time, man. So there are exceptions, but the way I treated my body, I wouldn't be one of those exceptions.
You know, there's 3 other world-class players that came to town today, just to be with you. And ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to Pat LaBarbera, Kurt McDonald, and Gapman Jones. Stand up. Hey.
And just, they're going to come up and play with me, and everybody here, Bobby and John and the whole band. Tenor madness, man. Get ready.
I think they want to challenge you to a duel.
Don't challenge me. I give up already. You guys got it.
Sam, I also have a message from another friend who couldn't make it here today. And it reads, "I'm afraid I will miss this event in Europe on an extended tour, home around May 12th. Hard traveling, but the music makes it worthwhile. Best to all, and happy birthday to you, Sam, Don Menzen." Also had a phone call a little while ago from Phil DeRay, who called from West Palm Beach, Florida, and he said to say happy birthday and never forget Baffles.
Never will. Couldn't.
Let's go back to the Kenton era. Another milestone in your life came when you went on that European tour with Kenton, and something happened to the great Ed Lay, great trumpet player. And you were in London. He was playing lead, and what happened?
We were in England for 5 weeks in March, and they had no central heating at that time. This was 1956. So Ed Letty, on a plane over to Oslo, got double pneumonia, and they had an ambulance waiting at the airport for him. They took him straight to the hospital. So he was the first trumpet player. So now I'm wondering, well, I wonder who Stan's going to fly in from LA or New York or something. So Stan Kenton comes up to me and says, "You are now the first trumpet player." I said, "What? Wait a minute." No, I said, I'm just play a couple of jazz solos. I don't play first. Well, you got to take it. You're doing it. So I said, "Why don't you fly somebody in? You got the money." "No, you're doing it." So that was it. I took the four, and we only did it with 4 trumpets instead of 5. I took the trumpet section and rehearsed it, and I became the first trumpet player for the rest of the tour, which was 4 weeks on the continent. So evidently, I must have been doing a good job, because when I got back, I remained the first trumpet player, and I was the first trumpet player for several years in the band. So, and concertmaster, if I didn't like what the saxophone players were doing, I'd say, "No, they'll do it this way." Of course, I wouldn't do that, but I had the power to do that.
And that was actually the Kenton band that was just chock full of all-star players. And you went on a string of recordings that are all Kenton classic albums.
Yeah, we did Cuban Fire and Back to Balboa. We did contemporary concepts, which are all collector's items now.
You got all those royalties. You got all those royalties. Okay, moving right along. There's another little story that you tell sometimes about an interesting encounter with Miles Davis, and when you and John Mensa had the house band at the town casino downtown Buffalo.
Right, yeah.
What happened?
Well, we were the house band, and we played maybe a half hour, and then Miles's group came on. He had Tony Williams and George Coleman and Herbie Hancock and those guys. So I was standing on the side, and Miles got through playing his solo, and he walks off the stand. The stand was just about this high, and I'm standing over there, so he walks over, and his band was still playing. George Coleman was playing. So Miles comes over, and I had met Miles 3 times, and he never says hello to me. So anyway, he comes over, and he's standing next to me, and he says, "How you like Tony?" "Sounds great, man." "How you like George?" "Sounds great, man. George sounds good to me, man." He said, "Tony hates George." I said, "What do you want from me, man?"
You know, Sam, I remember when you came off the road, I heard you were home taking a few students, and yes, it was Richie Merlo and I that were first in line, and you became our teacher for a while. I remember you gave us lessons at the Jazz Center on Washington Street, downtown Buffalo. I went there for my lesson one day, and you never showed up. It sounds like me. I sat there for a while and wondering if you were going to show up, and went over to the bartender who was setting up. I said, "Where's Sam?" And he looked at me and he said, "He's gone. Went on the road with the Count Basie band." Now, you and Sal Nestico at that moment in time together on the Basie band, and what a band name was?
It was a good band, and you learn a lot playing with that band. You learn what not to play and how to play with time and rhythm and all that. It was a great thing. And Basie liked us. He liked us. And,
He liked you.
well, he liked me. He liked Sal, too. He thought Sal was a monster player. And
He was a monster.
Well, he was a monster player. He used to be featured on Jumping at the Woodside and tear the house down.
Yeah.
But that was a great experience. And so of course, Sal wasn't too good a boy at that time, so I basically had to tell him bringing some heat on the band, so he had to let him go. And then Sal went to Sweden and stayed over there for a long time.
You know, back in the 60s, you had two clubs in Buffalo. It was the Renaissance 1, the Renaissance 2, and you were bringing some major names to town in jazz. And everyone came there like at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to jam for breakfast. And you brought an old pal of yours to town at that time too, Chet Baker. And he gave you a little problem, didn't he?
Well, the first club, the Renaissance, was just us, our band, with Joe Romano, myself, and the rhythm section. And the guys used to come in from Mount Morris, with Pat the Barber, and those guys used to come in and whoever was in town at the Royal Arms used to come down to the club and have breakfast because we were open till 6 in the morning. We didn't sell booze, you know. So there was Cannonball Adderley, it was our Blakey, and Bill Hardiman come in there, and he and Bill and I had a little trumpet duo, which was a lot of fun. And we had a great. Now the Renaissance too was on Bailey Avenue, and I had blues license, but location, that was not too cool. But I hired Chet Baker for 3 nights with Sal Nisico on tenor, and a couple of Toronto guys, Lauren Lofsky, and I kept getting phone calls during the week. Is Chet coming? I said, well, he said he's coming. What are you gonna do? He said he'd be here. So he did show up, and the place was crowded. He comes in, and I went over and Chet, glad to see you here, man. I'm Sam, and he says, oh, yeah, Sam, you're a trumpet player, right? I said, yeah. He says, what kind of horn are you playing? I said, I play a Bach. It's a Bach 72 bell and that, you know. He says, oh, yeah. He says, can I use it? You don't have a horn? I said, no. I said, yeah, you can use it, sure. I said, you got a mouthpiece? He says, yeah, I got a mouthpiece, okay. So I go in the back room and get my horn out, hand it to Chet. He'd go up and play his can off. And the horn never sounded that good. He went and played. After the gig, he'd bring it over to me, and I'd put it back in the room. Now, people were coming early just to see this little ritual going on. Like, here's the trumpet at night. Go and play the trumpet, bring it back to me, put it back. So, like I say, and there's a CD out because Al Wallach had Jazz at the Nighttime, came in and recorded the thing live, and it's out on a CD now, and it's live at the Renaissance too in Buffalo, New York.
And I've heard those recordings. Al Wallach is here today. Where are you, Al? There he is.
That's it. Yeah, man. Yeah, get down. He kept calling me, if I remember correctly, is Chet showing up? I said, yeah, it's coming anyway.
You know, I know you get the online reports that verifies the thousands of fans from over 50 countries around the world that visit your jazz website. And I want to make sure I remind everybody here to log in when you get a minute to samnoto.jazzgiant.net and check it out. You really enjoy that site. Now, Sam, this is a perfect time right now to announce the book. Another gifted Buffalo trumpeter and dear friend of yours, Joe Jambra. Joe, where are you? He's here. Joe, for many, many, many months now, has been writing the life story of Sam Noto. And what a fascinating read this book is going to be. And any idea when we can buy a copy?
That's the first chapter, right, Joe?
That's
the first chapter is in this magazine.
Joe published the first chapter of the book to be in the Perniente magazine that just came out days ago. So you can get a little taste of this incredible story from the first chapter of the book that's in that magazine.
Yeah.
You know, we got to wrap up in a couple of minutes. 75 years of playing the trumpet. Give us a little bit of insight into what were some of the real highlights, your favorite moments, aside from today. Maybe that time with Dizzy Gillespie.
Well, yeah, when he came to Renaissance One, when we were playing after hours, he came in and sat at the front table. And I know Dizzy from 1953, when we were on the Kenton tour. Dizzy was on that tour, and Charlie Parker. So Dizzy befriended me right away, and I was always hanging around him. He said, "What are you always hanging around me for?" I said, "Well, maybe some of that would rub off on me, But anyway, he came in and sat down, and I told Joe Romano, "Well, there's Dizzy, man." I said, let's play Groovin' High, which is one of Dizzy's tunes. So we burned it out because we were in pretty good mental shape at that time. It was about 4 in the morning, don't forget, and we had been tipping the jug, so to speak. But anyway, we played it and we burned it out, and Dizzy stood up and grabbed the microphone and says, "Now that's how Groovin' High should be played." And I thought that was it. I just flew that high off the ground that time. It was quite a thrill for me.
Well, today's a big thrill for me too. You know, to be here with you today, my trumpet teacher when I was 14 years old. It's a very special time. And I just want to say that, and I'm sure everybody here joins me in saying we all want to wish you a very happy birthday, Sam Noto. Ladies and gentlemen, our fill singer, here we go.
gonna play Bye Bye Blackbird. Okay.
Coach, you guys ever play something? Come on, man. Coach McDonald, Coach Toronto, and Pat, everybody got something more time. Morris, New York, but lived in Toronto. Come on, boy. Hey, come on, give him a round of applause.
That's a nice. All right, we have one more tune for you. Thank you all so much for coming out. There's birthday cake in the lobby for everyone. So everybody's welcome to join in that. So please, you can say happy birthday to Sam out there.